My safe word will be whiskey.
Sorry, Rod, what was that?
Whiskey.
Do you mean whiskey?
What?
You're saying it weird.
Saying what weird?
All of it.
Where do you get off?
I just don't get why you're saying it that way.
Why I'm saying what way?
Forget it.
I will. I will forget it. All right, everybody, welcome back to another week of Muskies on Tap. Welcome to episode number 93. I am one of your hosts tonight, Gus Manty. We're going to be bringing to you a pod with just the fellas, but it's going to be action-packed. We got some stuff to talk about. More Mott line or on the line we're going to be going through. We got some really good ones in this week. We're super pumped about them. And then we're going to talk about our New Year's resolutions from 2024 and how those panned out from the 2024 season. It's going to be hilarious. You already know that a couple of those did not shake out. Anyways, let's get in with the other fellows here on the line. We got none other than my brother, Max. Max, how you doing tonight?
Man, I'm doing great, Gus. Love the energy from you this evening. Ready to go. Fired up. Obviously I love the pods when we can get some awesome interviews done, but every once in a while it's nice to just have a little fellows pod. You know what I mean? Us three, just kind of chopping it up. Like you said, we got a lot on the docket here this evening to chat about. I'm ready to, like I said, I'm ready to get some takes off, ready to get some stuff off my chest. We got some great callers that shot us some messages this week. We got like you said, some New Year's resolutions review and some 2025 New Year's resolutions for Muskie season. And I think we're going to do a little bait talk, maybe what we're looking forward to, maybe what we're not so hot on here for this upcoming season, all the goods. But without further ado, let's introduce our third member here, none other than the Mr. Brian Eckel. Brian, how we doing tonight?
I am doing great. Thank you for the kind words. Yeah,
Did I
happy to
say
be
anything
here.
kind?
Maybe not this time. I usually do. I just assume you're gonna give me a compliment. Anyways, been in a great mood these last couple days. 55 and sunny in my neck of the
Mm.
woods. Making
Mhm.
me itch to get out there and lash and mash a few golf balls, maybe get out in the water. All these fun spring things that are probably farther than just around the corner. Probably gonna get snow in March, but
Yep.
looking ahead here, I mean, yeah, show season back to, or not back to back, but you got, is it Minneapolis this weekend?
No, two
Next.
weekends from
2 weekends from
then.
now? Okay.
7th to the 9th, if I'm not mistaken. And
And
then
then
Wisconsin,
Wausau
Muskie
right
Expo in
after.
Wausau is, yeah, Minnesota 7th to the 9th, Wausau 14th to the 16th.
Okay.
Um, Back to
Those will
back.
be, yeah, a couple busy weeks. I'm excited to get to the Wausau Expo. We'll break that down a little bit later on in the pod. I'm a little worried though about these New Year's resolutions from last year because man, I do not remember what I said at the time. So I'm definitely looking forward to looking
Lofty.
back.
Lofty.
You got to set high goals, if
Sure,
you,
sure.
Lofty goal, Herb.
yeah. We want to kick it off with that, or do we want to see who's on the line to start?
Let's check in here with some of the listeners. We got some great messages, like I said, sent in. So yeah, Gus, do you want to just fire up that segment here? We'll dive right in.
Yeah, let her rip, man.
Hey boys, Aaron from Pittsburgh here. Yeah, I've only been fishing muskie for like, I don't know, a little over 3 years, and Lord knows I don't have all the answers, but I just had a question. Last summer, went fishing with a guy, went out on his boat, met him at the boat launch actually. We were out, pretty warm out. He got into one, pretty close, ate like boat side. So I netted the fish pretty quickly. He reached in, grabbed the fish. He wanted to do like a knee pose, essentially holding the fish out in front of him, putting it over his knee. And fish was still pretty fucking green. And, well, needless to say, the fish started kicking. He took some teeth to like essentially his inner thigh. Got him pretty good. We got the fish back in the water. And, my question was, is that after he kind of looked at me and asked me to suck out the poison. I mean, is that a thing? Is that weird? if I did it.
Oh my God.
That is a great call in, man. I mean, I'm still confused on what the question is. I guess is it weird? Is it weird to suck
We
out the poison?
Suck out the poison from the musky venom? I don't know, man. I think that guy was
uh
playing you.
Aaron from Pittsburgh's an absolute character, man.
The that whole storytelling was great. I mean, kind of the huffing and puffing, you could tell he was really building up to this moment, ready to get it off his chest. And man, I don't know. Hey, your buddy might have been playing a trick on you. I don't think there's any poison from the muskie in there.
Nah, it
If
wasn't a
there's nothing
buddy. It was a
else.
guy he met down at the boat launch.
Oh
Oh
yeah.
yeah, you got
There
to
might be
watch out for
poison in
them.
there.
Mm-hmm. He's trying to pull a fast one on you.
Oh man. Yeah, we
Say,
met. What's up, Brian?
nothing, nothing, nothing. Who'd you meet at the launch, Max?
No, I didn't mean nobody at the launch.
Oh, okay, good.
We met Aaron on the trail though last year, and yeah, he's just a certified beauty. Um, I don't know, I can't remember exactly what his Instagram is, but Gus might be able to plug it. But man, there's a video of him out there that exists. That's got to be like top five funniest muskie videos. Him chiefing a cigarette and he's fighting a fish and he's screaming with the cig in his mouth,
That's
freaking out,
so
and
funny.
it's so good.
It's Aaron M. Parise. Parise. I don't know how exactly to pronounce your last name, Aaron. Sorry, but Parise.
Yeah.
Related to the hockey player?
No, I never asked him.
Well,
Yes.
I guess bottom line, is it weird? I guess Aaron, it depends who you ask, but I'd probably stay away
Er,
from sucking poison from another guy for a little while.
Especially
yeah,
on the
right.
inside thigh is a tough area, you know.
I
Very tough,
just
yeah.
also I just looked at his Instagram. I think it was actually posted on Absolute Unit Media when he was fishing with that guy.
Okay,
I think
okay.
that's where the
Yeah,
reel
that's where to
comes
check it
from.
out.
I think he catches on
Gotcha.
a Big O's bucktail, I'm pretty sure, or spinnerbait.
Shut up.
Got out.
Shut up.
Yeah. Well, let's keep things in the Pittsburgh world. We got another caller coming in from Pittsburgh. Actually, our first repeat caller in week two. So let's
Wow.
get him on the line here.
Hi, this is Nate from Pittsburgh. Love the show. I was just wondering, you guys like casting or trolling? I'll hang up and listen. Thanks.
Thanks,
Hey,
Nate.
Nate from Pittsburgh.
What did he say at the end?
I'll hang up and let you guys
Oh.
talk. That's a good one. Well, I think I know Brian's answer. Actually, I think I know all of
Yeah.
our answers.
Yeah. I was gonna add we have a little musky battle chat, and he was talking. One of the guys today was talking about whether live scope counts if you catch one, and whether suckerfish count if you catch one, just joking around. And I wanted to throw in, does trolling count even if you catch one? Can you actually say with a straight face that you caught that fish if your boat's doing all the work? I don't know. Verdict's still out on that. I'm up in the air on it,
It's
but
tough.
That's a hot
uh
take.
I
casting.
think I agree on casting. I'll kind of leave it at that, but I'm gonna put my own jab on the trolling part is that I can see where you're coming from if maybe you're not driving the boat. Maybe, we gotta do the Kodak meme or whatever. Let me drive the boat. That might get you a different perspective on a fish caught, but I do understand that. And it's 100% in the back of my mind what my current PB right now is. It was trolling. So, but then again, I'm still not going to think too lesser of it. Um, it's hard to say. That's kind of between like casting artificials, live bait, trolling, if you
All
should
right, I
have
got.
shot it or not, but
I feel like my take is going to be more in line with what Brian actually truly believes because trolling to us for so long was, man, fishing sucks. Everything's dead. Let's just go out in the middle of the lake and take a breather and troll. And like it never worked. Like almost never worked. Now that you, Gus, over the past couple of years have kind of started to dial in some trolling bites, I will say, like, when that time of year kind of comes around and I actually feel confident that we're gonna troll effectively and like get action, I'm excited to do it because,
hmm
every time you go out and cast, you're like expecting something, to happen eventually. Where for so long, I think like, you know, we just were trolling to kind of like fill time.
I mean, if in the, I don't mind in the fall if it's cold and you just, you're freezing your hands off, taking a break, you're still fishing, you got lures in the water, whatever. If my back's not hurting and it's decent weather out, I'd rather cast all day long.
For
But,
sure.
everybody's got their
Yeah.
own injuries, so, if you got to
Hmm.
troll, you got to troll, but it's just not my first choice.
That's understandable.
All right. Caller number three.
Who we got?
My name's Tim. Uh, First time caller, long time listener. Uh, oh, I can't even say that with a straight face. Hello, this is Max with Cougar Baits Fishing Lures. I have a couple questions for you guys. One is I heard on Backlash podcast that was I thought was a great question to ask you guys, and that would be, what is one fish that either haunts you at night, or what is the most memorable day of fishing you guys have ever had? Along with, I was wondering, what is, in your opinion, the most underused, type of technique musky fishing that you think should be more widely used? Thank you so much,
Mm.
guys. Love the podcast, and you have a great day.
Yeah, you too, man. Great caller there. Appreciate. I
As
mean,
like
that's a lot to digest, though. Those are some loaded
Hmm.
questions.
yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
it's pretty much three questions in one call, which I love. I mean, it's going to give us a lot to chat about here. Which one
Hmm.
do you guys want to talk about first? Most underutilized, biggest
Yeah,
fish
let's
nightmare, or
start
best day
there,
of
and
fishing?
let's start with the
Under,
most underutilized, and we can get into stories maybe.
yeah.
Sure.
You guys got anything off the rip? I'm trying to kind of think about some that, you could kind of
I mean,
say are underutilized, but at the same time, you're probably going to get a couple listeners who are like either hush
I
up
got one.
or yeah, okay, go ahead. I
Well,
don't.
I'm just gonna say, like, again, I think it's exactly what you were about to say is like you're gonna have some people that are like, wait, what?
Yeah.
But I know this is kind of like a very generic one, but I honestly think crankbaits are underutilized
Yeah, you
across the
took
board.
mine. That's what I was gonna
That's
say. I was
it
gonna
is
say
very
big
true.
cranks,
Like, I
throwing big
just don't
jigs.
see a lot of people throwing them. Like, I know, we've started to really try to incorporate them. I know other people that
They
we
move good
fished
fish.
with, they move good fish, but like, I would say I rarely start a day and put on a crankbait. Like, it always seems kind of like, oh, the bite's not great. Like, let's try a crankbait or something.
Yeah,
Hmm.
Um, and then, when you see other people fishing, like especially in Minnesota and up in northern Wisconsin, like how many boats do you really see? Like if you see two guys out there casting, like
it's like
rarely do you
bucktail
see somebody
bulldog or
throwing.
whatever, rubber
Yeah,
and
Yeah, it's
blade.
rubber and a
rubber and
blade,
blades,
blade in the top water. Yeah, I don't know. That's tough.
I
double
I I,
nut.
I think
I
for sure crankbait is one of the least utilized. I think up here dive and rise are for sure used probably tenfold more
Yeah,
for sure.
I think that yeah, like Max said, the crankbait, but like even in like the early summer, when the water's warming up and like there's a clear trend that the fish are getting fired up and charged up from the sun, and they're ch starting to chase bucktails. And I mean, this trend could be all year round, really, but like taking a fast suspending or a fast rising crankbait and like aggressively twitching it over the weeds, like you're still making them chase it. I'm not saying to leave any sort of long pause at all, but I don't
Hmm.
feel like a lot of people don't really whack around crankbaits much.
for
No,
sure.
right. We definitely had a pretty decent like 7-inch slammer bite, or really that 1 year or 2 years using the 7-inch and the 5-inch slammer, and seemed like on some of those pressured waters, the fish midsummer were coming unglued on it, and we kind of half forgotten about it, to be honest. I haven't really used that bite much. I feel like I was just all on the rubber game last year. I mean, looking back at all the fish picks and stuff like that, like 90% of my fish were caught on rubber and top water. I didn't even catch too many on blades, and yeah, that's pretty crazy.
I don't know. I
Um,
just I just don't feel like it's like I feel like they're really fun to look at, and then you see all the unique paint jobs and like
hmm
all that stuff, and yeah, I don't know. Like
I,
Brian makes a great point. Like when it's midsummer and fish are either buried in the weeds or on weed edges and stuff like that, and you're just kind of ripping rubber or like burning blades. Yeah, like moving a fast moving crankbait over that same area. Why do you guys think that is? Like, do you think it's just a like it's
I
gonna take longer on your
feel like
retrieve?
it's
It's a lot of work on the body.
feel like a lot of I mean, maybe a lot of people don't have like a wide selection of crankbaits in their boat. Maybe they only have deep ones or suspending ones, but if you have like a maybe a smaller, quicker rising crank, I
Hmm.
mean, you can still whack that around and get it, keep it, I mean, probably within 2, 3 feet of the surface and
Oh,
get it
for
back to
sure.
the boat pretty quick. So like, I don't know. Maybe it's just not the first thing that comes to mind, or yeah, they only have deep crankbaits available, but
Yeah,
I
I know
remember that one
some.
day, Gus, that
Mm.
Clayton put on a Ridgeway bait when we were only getting follows, and then he got the first bite of the day.
Was that a couple years ago on the Doki?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I remember that. That was the first hooked fish, and then the bite kind of changed from there anyways. But yeah, I do remember that one. That was a 9-inch Ridgeway.
Hmm.
Midsummer, mid-July, I think that was.
I
Yellow
think
weeds.
my most underutilized would definitely be a glide bait. I don't remember if that was my New Year's resolutions this year, but I need to get better with a glide bait.
Yeah, it definitely on a
You and both.
average boat to boat basis up here, that's another lure I do not see many people throw. But if I talk with guides, it is 100% being thrown
Yeah.
like spring and fall and catching fish.
I feel
So
like
it's one of
just
those things that like the weekend warrior and whatnot might need to add in. I know it takes a lot more time, but if you don't have if I would advise starting on a not windy day if you want to build some confidence on a glide
I
bait. It's tough
I
when
feel
it's
like
windy.
glides are like a love or hate thing. Like from the people we've talked to in the pod and then just meeting
Hmm.
people, up north or at the expos, it's like you're either a glide bait guy or you're not kind of thing. Like people throw them
Yeah,
religiously or they're like me and they just
a
like
lot of
suck at it and they
a lot
haven't
of
taken the time to
river
learn.
a lot of river guys are big time glides for
Yeah.
sure. That's like
Yeah.
a big
Yeah.
big time play there. Um,
It's like a confidence thing too. Like if you're not, seeing other people, like I think the problem with glide baits are that here the common kind of issue is one, it moves fish, it doesn't catch fish, although that's untrue, but I think that's kind of a sentiment that some people have. And then two, when they do actually eat them, the hookup percentage can be,
Yeah.
kind of
a little
spotty. And
rough.
and I think that that's like again, if I think we were talking to Brian Schaefer and he's like, or somebody was saying that it's kind of like a misconception. Like if you know what you're
Conklin?
doing, maybe
Maybe
yes,
Conklin.
Conklin or somebody, but like if you know what you're doing with them, the hookup percentage can be good.
Yeah.
I
So
can't. It
It's
must
an
have been one
art.
of those two. It definitely
yeah.
is an art. Absolutely is. Another
Mhm.
underutilized one up here that it's talked about more and more, and we've talked about it more and more, and it's something I want to throw more and more of, and getting accumulating more and more baits. It's just spinner baits. Like we are saying, most people are throwing a bucktail. Spinner bait is just a different variation of a bucktail and can get through cover and thick weeds and whatnot way easier. So I think that probably is one. I
Yeah.
don't see it get thrown too often. Um,
Brian knows a little something about that.
Yeah, don't be telling these people what to throw now.
yeah, Brian.
Don't be giving away our secrets.
Basically breaking his PB with the big O's. The little one too.
All right, let's what was the first one? Your what haunts you at night? Fish story that
A
haunts
fish
you?
story that haunts you.
Um, I can go quick. The one that comes to mind, we bring it up occasionally in some of our fishing chats, but I think it was 2 years ago on opener, weekend after opener.
Hmm.
We were
Three.
fish 3 years ago?
Hmm.
I don't know
I
if it
think so.
was. Is it really?
I think that was 3 years ago, man.
2 or 3, yeah. Anyways, we were fishing a smaller lake up north, just
3 years
hammering
ago.
hammering pike, and it was like hot. I feel like if I remember right, it was sunny and like 80 some degrees all day,
Oh yeah.
and I got to the point where, I don't know, we'd each caught 5, 10 pike throughout the day. I'd gotten to the point I was just like so dehydrated. I'm seeing blue at like 4 o'clock, and so I lay down in the boat for like 20 minutes. I get back up. We haven't like if I remember right, we hadn't like seen a muskie or had really any muskie action for the most part. It was mainly
He had
just like a
one
ton of
follow.
pike. Yeah, and I was down in the dumps a little bit, dehydrated, just kind of losing hope, and I pestered Gus a little bit, opened up the little rod holster cabinet and grabbed out the medium spinning rod
Hmm.
and proceeded I think maybe catch another pike or two on that, which is always fun to get the blood going again.
Were you just
But
trying to what? Just
also,
trying to feel something?
Yeah, I was just trying to feel something.
but also
And
you what you're forgetting to add is that you took the MEPS muskie killer that you were throwing on a muskie
yes.
setup and just took that exact bait and put it on a medium
Yeah.
light 6'6".
Well, that's what the pike were loving. So I was like, all right, I'm gonna at least have fun with them while they're eating.
So the whole premise was you're just trying to feel some.
I'm just trying to feel some. And
Wants to fight
we
back.
probably, I mean, this was probably 20 minutes into throwing with this medium rod, and we're still just fishing, whatever, 7 feet in weeds around this lake. And I cast it out there and I start reeling, and I realize that like the blades aren't spinning, so I'm just kind of like speed reeling it in. It's like a foot below the surface. And probably looking up at the birds in the sky, not even thinking, and the bait gets probably 6 feet away from the boat, and I just happen to look down, and right at that instant, this whole side of this muskie shows on a totally knotted up bucktail in the shape of a circle. Side of this muskie flashes next to the bait and swims away, and I swear it was 15 inches tall. I mean, I was standing next to our buddy Jack in the front of the boat, and we both saw the glimpse of it at the same time. We both went, "Oh!"
Yeah, the I
I
don't think
was,
we have footage of like the after effect of like the boil. You cannot see the fish at all, but all you hear is Jack and Brian
yeah, it
just
it was.
gasp.
I mean, it looked so big from that, just like that, foot by foot side profile that I caught, and immediately you're just thinking like, oh my God. First of all, if that bait wasn't totally balled up, it was hot. Like it probably would have ate, you like to think, and then. Second of all, if it does eat boat side, and let's just say it's a 4 foot or whatever on a medium rod, I mean, I
Medium
don't even,
light.
there might be a leader on it. I don't know, but like, am I even getting that thing in? I don't know. So yeah, I dream about that because that fight alone would have been fun, and then to land that fish would have been
Right.
special.
100%.
Yeah, the way you guys made it sound, you made it sound like it was a special fish, and that lake's rumored to kick out some giants. You know,
It seems like
so
every time we bring it up in the group chat, it grows 2 inches. So now it's
yeah.
Is that like
65 or
65 or 70 now, I think.
yeah,
It's classic.
probably true.
Right.
I feel
Max, you
like
got
I know
one?
I feel like I know
Oh,
one of
sorry.
your guys.
Yeah, I mean mine's easy. It's already been talked about a million times. It's that
Yeah.
vermilion fish, man.
Oh,
That 60 incher.
that's not what I thought. Forgot
Really?
about
Which
that
one did
one.
you think
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
going to
we
talk about?
unfortunately have some to choose
Suckerfish.
from.
Yeah, but I wasn't the one who lost it.
No, I'm talking
Sucker.
suckerfish from like 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Snap the leader.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. Well, I never really got a true like visual on that fish. I mean,
That's true.
it was probably really nice, but I mean, that's more like it is
I
what
thought
it
it I
is.
thought it followed you guys like a foot under the water for like 20 minutes.
It showed it, didn't it do the thing where it like it didn't maybe it didn't
Yeah,
porpoise, but it swam by the boat
yeah,
Yeah.
it
like
was
on the
really
opposite side we were
bizarre.
casting and took a look at us.
Yeah, it
If
was
it
a
was
really
that
big
one, it was
fish.
a nice one, but it wasn't like a
But
mongo.
yeah,
Are
I
you
wouldn't
ta
say
No,
that one
I'm
keeps me
talking
up at night.
I don't think we're talking about the same fish. I'm talking about the one on Lake X where this was like one of the early years of sucker fishing, and it was like the first giant that you guys have seen. It followed you for like
Yeah,
20 minutes. You went
Oh,
back on
yeah.
it.
yeah,
Gus
that's a
lost that
different.
one.
I lost that one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
Yeah,
that's on my list of what I was maybe gonna say, but we've talked about that a good bit.
Yeah.
yeah. Mine's easily vermilion. I mean, I actually had that fish
Hmm.
hooked, and I saw every inch of it. Um,
Hmm.
and that would have been not only busted my PB by probably 4, 5, 6 inches, but it also would have been potentially a tournament winning fish, depending on how big it was.
I think we
Yeah.
calculated out it had to be over like 52 and a quarter or 52 and a half to be
Yeah.
a
And I mean,
winner chicken dinner.
all I said about that fish, and I know people give me shit, and it's definitely a fish story because nobody else saw it, and I was standing right in front of our camera.
The stern camera, literally the fish was you were right in between the fish and the camera.
Yeah, so I was
You
between the
cast it
fish and the
forward.
camera, And I was burning in another than a big old spinner bait. I think a 1 ounce spinner bait
No,
over
three.
3 ounce
Big
spinner
one.
bait, giant spinner bait. And I was literally burning it. And I told Gus, I'm like, we got 10 minutes left. We're gonna fish this reef and just fish baits as fast as we possibly can to get like a reaction strike, cover as much water as we can on it because the reef isn't small. It's like a circular kind of rock reef. And so like, all day I was burning double tens, the Suggs custom bait that name is escaping me at this
The
time.
dolly.
The dolly, which is a yeah, double big bladed bucktail. And so like my arms were dead, and I think we had kind of at that point like the sun was out, it was like flat calm, it was like conditions were really bad. So it had been dead for a couple hours. Gus and I were just totally toast. We've been fishing really hard for a couple days now, and I just told him like we went onto a reef that we knew there was some fish at, and I'm like, dude, let's just try to get one of these guys to go in the last 10 minutes. Let's fish insanely fast and see what happens. We kind of felt like they were keyed in on speed all week, but I'm like, let's go Mach 10. And so I was literally burning in this big old 3 ounce spinner bait, like over, it was landing in probably a foot and a half of water and staying over probably 2 to 3 to 4 feet, kind of working down this rock reef. And I was reeling it so fast, like my arm, like from my wrist all the way up to my shoulder was like burning when I was reeling it in, like terribly. And all of a sudden, I just felt like almost like the spinner bait got like snagged on a rock, but it was moving, like the blades were still spinning, but there was just like this crazy amount of weight on the line. And I was straight to, like my rod was pointed right at my bait. And so I just kind of like, because I was so delusional from hours now of not seeing anything, I kind of just like gave it not a great set. Like I set the
Just a
hook, but
little
not
pop.
great. And yeah, almost to like kind of get off whatever was on my
Yeah.
bait, not even
Well, it
thinking
did.
like
Mm.
registering it could be a fish for some reason. And as I, pulled to the side, the whole fish, like it caught him on the lip. It was only a single hook, spinner bait. So what I would imagine happened is it skin hooked him on the side of the mouth. Like he probably ate the bait swimming super fast with the spinner bait and never like was never a violent strike. So he just came and clamped down on it, swam with it. And then when I set the hook, like I think I just caught a piece of him. The fish was hooked for about a second and a half, 2 seconds, I would say, and the whole fish went broadside. And like I said, like, at the day before I had caught a 48 and 3/4, and like that fish literally made my fish from the day before look small. And I would just took, yeah, legit took my breath away. I acted like a idiot after that thing got off. Like I was like beside myself. I couldn't believe what had just happened. Like I hear all these stories about vermilion and these giant fish and double nickels and above, and like you never think you're really gonna see one. And I'm not saying that that fish was for sure that big. Like it easily could have been a 51 or a 52 incher. I don't know. I don't come into contact with that size of fish very often. But
Mm.
yeah, when that thing turned sideways, like it was just the weirdest sensation I've ever felt. It was like pure agony, like took my breath away, but also like insanely heartbreaking and just, I literally the fish went broadside and just sat there and then just kind of like slowly disappeared into the water. And I'm just like,
With the
oh
middle
my
finger
God,
up.
what
Yeah.
just happened? And that was at like 12:50 on a 1 p.m. stop time. So yeah, that one will always
Classic.
keep me up at night, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, that I believe. Yeah, Brian, that sucker fish really does for me, but it's starting to become long enough ago that I'm missing maybe pieces of the story and whatnot. I mean, I think we've recollected it enough. That stunk. That was probably a for sure 50 plus vilus fish that chowed the sucker and I did lose. Um, that sucks big time. But
Did you
we
lose
said that
sleep from that
story.
afterward?
No. I mean, that month and that year, yeah,
3
probably.
sleepless nights.
The rest of October and November, probably, yeah.
Yeah.
But no, actually, one that is kind of a series of fish and a particular lake and what we had going and what we got out of it, basically. As soon as I start describing it, Brian, Max, you guys are gonna understand
I
exactly what I'm
already
talking
know.
about. So it started with the first time ever going to this lake, Max and I, well, Max raised on a Navin, what was basically it was dirty water, so it's hard to exactly tell, but it was probably for sure over 48, potentially knocking on that 50 mark. Just an absolute behemoth. Looking in the water, we're like, that's a 30, 35 pounder in
It did try
August.
to eat the navin, and I never saw the fish, and I pulled it out
Yeah,
of its mouth.
right. It's dirty water, so it's tough. You don't know, and we're in shallow water. So that lake, we proceeded to go back to it here and there, and we had what was basically a pig pen of literal pigs of not anything under 40 inches, many between 43 and 45 that we were contacting and ended up losing. I think personally, actually, I think if we add all of ours up, we lost probably in the span of just August and September. I'd have to do it in my head again, but I think it was close to almost 10 fish, and probably five or six of them were over 43, 44. And there's a decent chance that that huge one that, you pulled the navin out of its mouth, Max, I lost on a slammer not too long after in September when it was just Dad and I fishing. And it almost ate the slammer. And then the next cast, I told Dad to throw out the rabid squirrel, and he burned it in. And it followed that at Mach 10 and scared the shit out of him going into the figure eight with like a mega fish in 5 feet of water, dirty water. It put one of the biggest boils up, next to that one at Lake Chippewa at the
Hmm.
Chip Flowy. It was like
Ooh,
one of those
yeah.
type of boils. Like,
That's
holy
one that also
shit.
keeps me up at night.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that one too. But then I think like two or three casts later after that, I got rocked and just had a shitty set, and I'm decently positive it could have been that fish and got a
Was that on
little
the
boil.
tube?
That was another fish on that
Yeah,
particular lake. That was another one that was really big up in stupid shallow water that I lost.
like under a
Um,
dock, if I remember right.
yep, and then I lost one that bent out a hook on a sucker that watched eat the sucker with Dad. That was probably 46-ish.
And
With
these are all
Max.
this is all pretty much like a 200-yard stretch on this lake that you're
Yes,
talking. Yeah.
yes. It was stupid. I haven't seen it since. And then also with Max, the day, mind you, out of all this in August, September, and actually a little bit in October, we caught two, a 40 and a 43 and a half, and lost 10 to 12 or something, and none were
Curse.
under 40. And then there's another one, Max, on the day, got the one on the sucker in September, where it was about a 45 and lost it in the figure eight on a slammer. If you remember that one, you had one following hot on a flap tail that day too. Brian, you were the only one to other one to catch one on a flap tail as well. I think a C4 at 40 incher.
Yeah.
That 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 whole series of those 3 months haunt me of like what could have been. We could have like all of us could have just been holding a nice slab of a 44 to 46 incher a piece plus
Yeah.
more between like us three and Dad, and
Yeah,
we got
that
two out of it.
stretch was crazy. I remember like the anticipation. Like I never felt that in musky fishing where it's like we literally were going into that spot being like, it's not an
Gone.
if, it's a legit when you're gonna have a giant fish come and follow you in. Like it's
So
just any cast now, like just keep,
And what
keep
was
your wits
also
about
crazy
you.
about this between August and September, other than the giant one following the rabbit squirrel right after I raised it on the slammer, I don't think we had any action on blades. Everything was stop and go. It was
Yeah.
tube,
yeah.
Navin, Suic. Oh, also another lost fish that haunts me on that lake on that same month stretch, right around Labor Day when we were doing. This is a pretty funny story. Brian, our fantasy football league, the other one, we were doing our draft, and it was on the frickin' night of the new moon, and we had all these fish corralled. So I went out solo, and I'm drafting while musky fishing, And I'm working the spot, nothing. I go to the inside edge and I'm
I think I
casting
remember you.
out with a 10-inch Suic and I'm working it painfully slow. It's my favorite 10-inch weighted Suic and super shallow weed, so I have to work it super slow. And I just get rocked, set the hook, feel the weight. 2 seconds later, nothing. And then all I can see in not the moonlight, because there's no moon, just a couple like dock and house lights, the frickin' fish shaking with the bait in its mouth in the air. It must have caught
Oh,
the leader of the line, snapped it, snapped my favorite suic off, and that was probably a nice fish.
yeah.
And I proceeded to look with my phone flashlight for like a half an hour for the suic in case it shook it. Never found it. Went back onto my phone and realized I auto drafted like rounds through seven
Cow
on
pits.
fantasy that year. My team was awful.
Yeah.
What a night. Love that
Yeah,
night.
Um,
you were
Love
not
that night.
happy. You texted me. I remember that. You were pissed.
So pissed. I
do
just looked
you
for the bait, didn't find it, and I just left.
do you think
Poor
that
Muskie.
that lake now is kind of in one of those downward swings where,
It's completely changed. The weeds
yeah,
are so different. They are laid
or
out so different, and it's so
yeah,
much harder to fish.
yeah.
That
So that lake's on the shit list for a while.
it's on the shit list. Not that it's not going to produce fish like that anymore, because it absolutely will. It's just is so hard to fish. With our winter we had the other year, the the weeds in that lake are ridiculous, which happened to a good amount of lakes around here, but that one in particular is one of those that just went on a rampage of milfoil and I don't know. Cabbage is getting taken over. It kind of sucks. Not ideal.
Mm. Yeah.
Um,
Um, there was a
what
third question.
I
Most
thought there was.
memorable day on the water.
Oh,
Man, there's a lot of great ones.
Yeah, this is gonna be
This is
very
going to be really
difficult.
tough. Like
I honestly
honestly,
don't know by
one that
chance.
immediately comes to mind, which I just find kind of funny because it's not even that much of a day. It was literally just the night of us three and Clayton, the first night before the Bender weekend started when you showed up, Brian, and you just hopped in the boat. You didn't know what the hell
yeah,
was going
that was
on. We
wild.
you were fishing for like 5 minutes and you hook a really nice one or whatever, like right in the middle of a boat. We're
Yeah.
running four wide on the same side of the boat. And, and we contacted so many. That was just such a fun night. I don't know. I really remember that one well. I had a lot of fun. That was just to get
Yeah.
off the mind. There's so many other ones too, but
I was thinking, I mean, it's hard on those vendor weekends, like when we were running two boats with the other guys, like to remember all the fish caught and what days, but um I don't know. I feel like our first like true bender weekend was at like 2 August ago, I want to say. When I
uh
caught my like kind of current PB
oh sure. That was late July.
late July.
I think we
Yeah.
did that over a new moon.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was like our first time doing like a bender weekend, right? I mean, really with
Mm-hmm.
like two boats at least.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, we've been
Um,
doing Bender weekends forever,
yeah,
but I think
yeah,
that was the
yeah,
first
yeah.
time we said it was a Bender
Said it on the
weekend.
podcast.
Yeah, with
Yeah.
I mean, what, like five or six guys, but yeah, that whole weekend was a blast. Being able to kind of meet up with another boat out in the water, chill
Yep.
for lunch, and then kind of disperse and tackle, different water, different areas of the lake together and share info. I mean, just that whole setup was fun, and then to catch a PB that weekend right at sunset was just like ideal. And on top water, choked out weeds in the slop. Doesn't get much better than that.
On the C4 that I almost botched the net job
Shout out
of.
Bomb Squad.
That was a shout out. That was almost a nightmare story for me, or one that keeps me up at
Yeah.
night. If I lost your, like seeing that fish in
Yeah.
the,
That
so,
net job too is hilarious. You were going full
oh, Jeff,
Elastic Man
Brian,
trying to
what are you
reach it.
doing? Help, help.
Don't just stand there.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I haven't watched that video back in a while, and I don't know if I plan to.
That'd be some good footage to release.
I think it has been released. I think it's on Instagram.
Is it? Yeah. I do remember that. Release some of it.
Yeah, it's too
It's on
funny.
there somewhere, I think. Yeah, it's man, yeah. I don't know. I'm having a hard time. We've had so many fun days on the water together. I don't know if I can really think of any that totally stand out. I mean, they're like it's not that they don't stand out. It's just hard. I mean, I try to think back us like on, some of the tournament days. Like I would say, to this day, the most fun, even though at the time it was kind of painful, was probably the second day of the PMT, our first ever PMTT together when we boated those two fish and
Yeah,
first
lost
first
one as
ever
well.
last one as well, and we're able to take a top 10 in our first ever time doing the PMTT and catching a 46 incher on a freaking depth 6-inch depth raider on a trolling setup for casting it
Mm-hmm.
after a bait blew out of the water.
Yeah.
Just like just total shit show, and like that whole fight and the excitement level of like catching that big of a fish in a tournament, I think is something I'll always look back on really,
Then
really fondly because yeah, it was
then
just
tear open your thumb.
yeah, tore open my thumb, which wasn't great, but yeah, I just remember like the stoke level after that day was like it just didn't come down for so long. Like it's just like, man,
Mm-hmm.
everything's right in the world,
I,
like it's
I love that video. I think it's like Gus's GoPro head mount
Mhm.
that has the good
I
video
had a
or
chest
chest
with
mount.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, he like you just release the fish and then you kind of like look down at your hand. You go, "Damn, I'm bleeding." Then I think that Gus like, "Oh yeah, you are bleeding." Then you both kind of go silent and it's like gushing. And you both are like, "Oh shit, this is real."
Oh, this is like a bad situation.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I don't know that. I mean, we've had like us three have had so many good days on the boat together. Like I think I look back like 3+ years ago when we were just kind of shitheads and no offense, Gus, but like before you were guiding and it was like just kind of like all
Right.
figuring it out together. Like I don't know, probably what now five like at this point like 5-6 years ago, like when we were just not a care in the world. Like we just wanted to go musky fishing forever, just don't matter how much we caught or
Right.
whatever. It's just like,
Hmm.
yeah, figuring it out and stuff. And you're like learning so like I would say musky fishing, you're like always learning, never stop learning, all that stuff. No doubt about that. But I feel like in that year, like 2, 3, 4 of like when you really commit yourself to musky fishing, like you're learning. It's like playing the guitar, you hear about the curve, like the hockey stick curve, where for a couple of years, like you're just kind of stagnant, 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 and then like all of a sudden you're just like ramping up super, super fast of like learning so many different things in such a short amount of time because you just have built some experience then.
Yeah.
Um,
I feel like I remember. I mean, who knows when it was, 8 years ago or whatever. It was kind of like at the end of our first year of like really getting into muskie and kind of getting the bug. And we were just fishing the chain 'cause that's where your place was. And we pounded it, I think, for like that whole summer and into the fall. That might have been that first year we sucker fished. And then that next year, I remember you guys were bringing up like we got to try to fish other water. Like there might be better lakes out there. You heard there were better lakes from like Tadpole or whoever. And I was
Mm-hmm.
pissed. I was like, why would we leave the chain? Like we know all the spots. We know where the fish are. Why are we leaving? And I like refused. And then all of a sudden we started venturing out. I'm like, oh, this is awesome. Like I want to go to a new lake every time.
right. And then, yeah, just then all that's what I mean, like the hockey stick curve. Cause then after that, it was like, well,
Yeah.
why are we going to one different lake when we can go to 5 different lakes during a weekend?
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
like you just started learning so much so quickly doing that.
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, not all the water up here is like brown
It's
and dingy. Like, wait, what's
Yeah.
stagnant.
going
Wait,
on
what?
here? Like,
There's weeds
why is
deeper than
this?
7 feet. This is
Yeah, why is this lake green?
wild.
Why is this
40
lake
feet
blue?
of water.
Why can I see so far down? Yeah, it was wild.
So yeah, I don't know. I look back on that time frame really fondly. It's like we were just getting so addicted. It was
Yeah.
awesome.
It was hilarious. And yet we still just threw spoons and whatnot.
Slayed him.
Like we
Blades.
really, what's that?
Yeah, spoons, blades.
We
Yeah.
slayed him. We put a beat down on him on that little silver spoon.
Yeah. Hey, shh. Maybe that's one
Like,
of the
whoa, whoa, whoa,
underutilized
whoa.
techniques that we should bring
Paywall.
back ourselves. The old silver spoon, like
Yeah,
small, like 3/4 ounce, not even that big of one.
it's crazy though. It's a problem when I do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you caught a nice one that one like early June. Oh man, I think you're wearing like the Swing Solutions shirt or something. You
Oh,
remember that one? Over by
That
Secret Dock?
yeah. If I'm not crazy, I thought that was my first Muskie or one of the first.
That was one of your first for sure. That
Yeah,
might have been your
first like good
first.
one. I think it was like a 36 or 7. I don't even know
Oh
if we could
yeah, it was
measure it, but
probably not.
yeah.
We never measured anything. We had no idea.
No.
I think our tape measure only went up to like 30 or something, or 32 or 36 or
Yeah.
and I don't even know
Yeah.
if we had that one at the start. I
We were
remember
just we
we
were just trying to feel
put
something.
that like a sticker on the boat, remember Max? Like
Yeah.
I think that we even didn't
That
have
was a
forever.
2-footer, I think.
Oh yeah.
Would
All
we have
right.
That's too funny.
we got one more calling yet?
Yeah, one more. One more. So let's see here.
Hey boys, this is Phil from Green Bay coming at you. First time, long time. Let me just say, I'm really excited about this new segment you guys are doing. I think it'll be fun. My wife and I just had our first kid, so I've been at home from work for a while here and watching going on some deep cuts on some podcasts. And Theo Vaughn used to take callers all the time on his comedy podcast, and he would get some real funny stuff. One knucklehead seemed to call in every time and ask him who would win in a fight between the guys that were on. That's not what I'm here to ask you, but anyway, my question is, I'm thinking about um, exploring new waters and trolling as an option for scouting. And obviously, you guys, Gus has a lot of different musky waters right in his home zone there, and then you guys go to different areas for PMTT all the time. So I'm just curious what your guys' thoughts are on picking a bait, especially if you can only run one bait to explore. My personal thoughts, a lot of times I'll pick something natural, maybe like a depth raider on a sucker or perch pattern, something that's not too big, not too small, or throw it over to the old homies Clayton and Nick that just threw out a black and silver bucktail. I'm always down for trolling a bucktail as well, but just curious on what you pick for size and pattern presentation, stuff like that when you're trying to scout a new water and you can only pick one bait to use. All right. Thanks, guys.
I
Sweet.
uh I,
Thank you, Phil.
I can answer the first part of that. I mean, I feel like he wanted to know who would win in a fight.
Oh,
He didn't just say that for no reason. But I'll tell you this. Back in the day when we were young, Gus and
mhm.
I don't know, 5 to 12 years old, we probably were short at 100 pounds on max around those years, and we felt it. We felt it often, specifically Gus. I mean, you talk about ass whooping.
Dog.
Really shaped him into the man he is today. So,
Yeah, built tough.
hey, Gus, you owe Max a thank you for all those ass beatings in the basement.
That's true. That's true.
Thanks,
You know, I
Brian.
gotta love
Appreciate
those
that.
games where we would where Brian and I would just stand in front of a couch with a pillow and Max and his friends would run full speed at us and
Yeah,
deck us into
it
the
shapes
couch.
you into who you
That
are.
was a game.
That was
Because
a
you know
game.
sure as hell we couldn't run and
I
deck
wonder who
them into the
created those
couch.
rules.
Remember the night game?
hmm
Night game was the goat.
Yeah,
Oh,
Knee hockey, full check.
yeah.
full check knee hockey was just unreal.
You could have
Yeah.
made like a
One
"Here
on
Comes the
one.
Boom" Nelly hit stick video out of that if we had the cameras
Yeah.
going back then.
Oh my
Cross
God.
checks, blood, yeah, the whole nine
It
yards.
really did shape who we are, Brian. You know, I'd rope you into that too, just because you were our neighbor growing up and was over during probably 75% of these shenanigans.
Yeah.
Mhm. Well, why don't you answer the real question, Gus? Because I don't know how much Brian and I are going to be able to talk on this one.
I'm kind of curious if I just like shorten it to if you guys were out there trolling with me and you had to choose one, like what would you choose? If I'm looking at like the box that I bring out trolling, there's like a couple that are now the staples. It's obviously I'd say either the 8-inch or 6-inch jointed depth raider is up there. Another one is the 22 short, the Lungin one is another one that has done really well for us. And honestly, the new one that I've had a lot of confidence in is the chain hammer from Hammer Customs. That's Nick's smaller bait, which caught pretty much all of the trolling fish I did end up getting in 2024, which wasn't that many. I really didn't troll that much. It was mainly casting and live bait and the sucker program last year. Um, But just on an average day-to-day basis, those are probably the baits that I would choose right away. Um, of course, if it was the fall, I would just throw in the 13-inch grandma and forget about it. That would be for sure one of them. But for scouting new water or pre-fishing for tournaments, I'd probably err on smaller to medium baits and then running them fast. So I don't know if you guys had to just randomly pick a bait. I'm kind of curious, what would you choose? Where you'd be like, that's gonna get, or let's put that one out for 2-3 hours.
Um, I don't know. I like to kind of fuck around when I pick my trolling baits.
That's
It
fair.
seems like whenever we troll, you have like a couple new crankbaits, and I'll pick the shiny one. But if I'm trying
Hmm.
to play it smart and actually get a tug, I always like the is it the 22 long from Legend?
Yeah, 22 long.
Yeah, yeah. You have like a
Hmm.
brown bodied one with a bright orange belly. Caught
Yeah,
fish on
it's
that
like
casting too.
Canadian Crush, or it's a TRO one. I can't remember.
Yeah, just a good size bait
Yeah.
for up north. I feel like it's pretty relative to their forage size.
Yeah, like 6-7 inches or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, overall, probably more realistic. We've just had great success on the 22 shorts. I mean, those are like 4.5 or 5 inches long. It's
Yeah.
pretty small bait, but it's caught some good fish for us. Max, what about you?
Yeah, I would just go 6 or 8 inch depth raider in the color that we love.
Yep.
I don't know if that color's ever been said, but
Boring, but it
if you want to just
works.
keep that
Boring,
one
but
to
it
your chest,
works.
this
Yeah,
would be
keep it to the chest.
understandable. Yeah. So natural color though. 6 or 8 inch depth raider seems to be a universal bait, no matter where you are in the
They
world.
catch
It
fish.
gets bit.
Gets bit. Sweet. Well, appreciate it, Phil, Max, Nate, and Aaron for sending in some calls to the see who's on the line. And that was good. I really enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's always funny hearing them too, and I kind of like when you guys get the recordings to not listen to them ahead of time and get the wow factor once I hear them. Those are all pretty funny.
Yeah. Oh, they're good. They're so funny. Well, I think transitioning here, we could talk about what our goals and resolutions were from 2024. I don't know if you guys want me to rifle them off or maybe go person to person. There's two that were said, and both of them were said by Brian as a group goal, which are
Oh
pretty
wow.
hilarious. We did not do either of them. Let's start with that. Let's go right off the rip. Brian, as soon as we were all done talking about our goals and resolutions last year on episode 35, if you want to go back and check that out, I believe it's the one with our first one with Greg Thomas. That was a great talk.
Great
Um,
episode.
Brian said we got to find a weekend to go to Canada, or a week. That did not happen. We still yet to go to Canada to
Still
musky
talking
fish.
about it.
Still talking
Still in
about
the
it.
group chat.
I'm gonna leave it at that because I don't know if that'll be it's still a goal this year, but I don't
Yeah.
know. It's tough with
And
schedules
just
and
take that off
Yeah.
the list.
yep, it's off.
Yeah.
And the
That's on it every year.
next one, I think you guys are really gonna get a kick out of this. I mean, not saying we didn't fish hard during these benders and we caught plenty of fish and had a lot of fun, but you said during a bender, fish till 3 a.m. at night, one of the
Didn't
nights.
happen. Didn't
Did
happen.
not happen.
Didn't even get close.
And I'm
No.
not. I mean, there were times that I was advocating for it.
Yeah, I'm not saying you weren't.
But I think, it's you got to adjust your whole day around it. You got to plan for it. You can't get out there at 6 and then 5 o'clock rolls around. You're like, let's fish till 3. I mean, that takes some serious stones, and
It's the
you know,
next day that kills.
yeah, it ruins your next day. I think you got to, if you're gonna do it, you got to sleep in, get out in the water at noon, fish it till fucking 2 or whatever,
Yeah.
and
It
then
did
hit the
It did
bar.
suck though, that August bender. I can't remember how much influence I pulled on that, but prior to that, and even after it, that morning bite, at least for me, was very good. I think we kind of did. I know Brian, you got one, and we got some like mid-morning, but I might have played an influence on that. And of course, waking up to get on the water by like 6:30 is kind of tough if you were up until 2 or 3.
Yeah.
So
Well, it's not even that. It's we're fishing till 2 or 3, but Gus always has us in frickin' Timbuktu, so it's the driving
Yeah.
back
Hour
and
drive.
Yeah.
whatever.
Yep. Yep. Usually anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour and a half, probably,
Yeah.
or 10 or 15. I don't know. Somewhere. Typically far away, though.
Yeah. All
Yeah.
right, you want to go person to person here, and we'll see if anybody hit a single goal.
Sure. So we'll start with Max, since we just kind of gave the group goals that Brian said. Max started his off with this is a good one. Resolution: be nicer to Brian in the boat.
Wow. Am I the
Brian, do
judge
you
of
think he
that?
fulfilled that? Do you think he
Now
fulfilled
I
that?
now I really got to do some thinking.
I
I
say
think
absolutely.
I think he did learn this year that if he shits on my bait choice, it's probably gonna work. So in a way, he's doing it to help me, even though deep down he hates what I'm about to do.
Hmm. So
Um,
do you
I
think he's
don't
really
think that's
being nicer to you
being,
though?
yeah, I was gonna say, I'm not,
no,
that's not me
it's
being
not,
mean.
he's
It's,
still giving me shit. He's not being nicer, but I think we all know that it's probably gonna lead to something good. So
But
I
he's on
can't
your
hate him for
side.
that. So I can't hate him for that. Yeah, he's
On your-
doing me a favor.
yeah, that's me being supportive by shitting on your bait choices, knowing that if I jinx them, they'll work.
Right, right. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
he's gotten a little bit nicer.
Mhm.
I'd say I passed out with flying colors. I mean, I might be biased, but
Yeah, he had some talk about in there about PVO, but we all know that goes in waves.
the
So
only time I blew up at you this year is when you kept stealing my fish.
That's true. That's true. I can't
I
help
mean,
that.
there's
or
like
the
three
front of the
fish in a
boat
row that I
situation.
raised, and then you caught.
We all give assists, just goes back around. You'll
Yeah,
get them
no, I mean
eventually.
it's I call them boat catches too, but like at the end of the
And
day,
I
I'm
think I
trying to
was
feed
in
the
your one of your bigger dry spells at the time, so it was like extra pain.
It was maximum pain.
It's all good though. Next time you can hop in the picture with me.
Oh God.
Dog.
All right.
Ah, that's
All right.
insane.
New Year's
All right.
resolution for 2025, be meaner to Brian in the boat.
Seriously, you're being too easy on him.
Yeah.
You're letting him get
I mean,
away with too much shit.
I honestly don't think I beat you up a single time this last year.
Maybe off the boat, but
No, I've
not on
got,
the
dude, I
boat.
had bruises from you most weekends going home. Like, God, why is my rib
Jesus.
tender?
You act like that's a one-sided affair, my guy.
No, it's not. It's not one-sided.
You you would you'd be poking the bear. That's all I'm saying. Like you know what's about to happen, yet you still do it. You know what I mean?
All right, all right. Let's get back to what's on task here. Keep you guys between the lines.
I'll
Max had
drive to Green
another.
Bay right now.
All right, easy,
Not
easy.
scared of a little car drive. You kidding me?
I'm seeing you in
Lordy.
like 3 days, boy.
I gotta keep you guys in check. All right. Max's next resolution, he got a little bit more in the feels here. He's talking about, which I think he did a really good job this last year, Max. So, my short little cliff note on it was pretty much enjoy every trip, no matter the bite. No matter if it was good or bad. You're saying how, these trips sometimes come few and far between, especially now that, our work and lives are changing and whatnot. And, I'm taking more trips. So maybe when you come up, there's not as much time for us to fish. But I think you did a really good job and you got some nice fish solo this past year. So New Year's resolution resolved.
Appreciate that, Gus. Yeah, I definitely want to carry that goal over
Hmm.
into this year too. I think I had a whole change of perspective after 2023.
Hmm.
Um, I think I just was getting way too. I mean, I don't want to sound like too dramatic here. I just think I was putting a little bit too much emphasis on
Pressure.
the catching aspect of some of these trips over just like how much fun we actually have, no matter what's going on.
Yeah.
So
Like,
2024, I just wanted to make sure I was a little bit more, you know,
yeah.
I mean,
kept the hashtag perspective.
it's the same thing in anything that you really care about. I think about the same things in golf. It's like if I go out there and I play bad, I feel like my whole day's ruined. But I mean, you're out there in nature with your buddies. I mean, it's still
It's a lot
fun.
of fun.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
can't.
Mhm.
You got to care a little bit less. Maybe that's the right
I,
way.
for all the filth and cesspool and shit I see and read on Facebook about musky fishing, I did find this one comment kind of interesting. I cannot remember who said it or what. I mean, I don't think the message was delivered probably great. I think he kind of got a hard time for it. But his comment was something along the lines of like, I see all these people these days on like YouTube or whatever saying like it's just a grind out here. Like it's just, fishing's a grind. And he's like, fishing is never a grind. Like you're fishing, you're
Yeah.
not working, you're not having to deal with
Right.
kids or with your, anything, your significant other. Like it's not hard work. Like you're literally fishing, you're doing something you
Yeah.
love. Like stop referring to it as a grind. And I was like, oh, that's kind of interesting. Like I definitely am guilty of saying like, man, what a dog
Oh,
shit couple of hours that was. Like Jesus
absolute
Yeah.
Christ,
grind.
like
Yeah,
or that's an
yeah.
absolute grind out there today. When in reality, like we're just musky fishing.
Yeah.
Yeah, leisurely.
Probably
I mean,
get
it still can be a grind. The body starts aching after a while for sure, and it
Sure.
become it
Yeah.
becomes,
I
that survival of the
yeah.
fittest, but there's still plenty to take in and enjoy while you're out there than just pissed off
But
that
like
your body's
I
hurting and you ain't
Sure.
definitely
catching.
I definitely agree with that. I'd only add that tournaments maybe become a different factor where
Yeah.
you're something's on the line, that there's time limits, it's a little more pressure.
Yeah,
Um
but I
but
think the whole
but
point of
still
it's
the
like
whole
the pleasure is in the process. Like
yeah,
even though
that's
like your body
also
hurts
true.
and you're in a tournament and things aren't maybe going your way,
But you're
like
doing
Yeah.
it for a reason
still fun to do it.
because you
You look
love it.
Yeah,
back,
it's
it's
like
like,
it's like you're not forced. You get to do the Muskie tournament, right? It's not
yeah,
like you were forced to do
Yeah.
like you chose
right.
this because you love doing it. So don't fucking complain about it when you're doing it.
Yeah, you don't have a boss being like, "Hey, I need you to fish 3 tournaments this year.
You're like,
You
damn
better fish it really hard."
it.
Like, like that, you know what I'm saying? Like I
Yeah,
just
Yeah.
think, yeah, I agree. Like musky fishing is physically taxing, but yeah, I think it's like that's like you're only gonna get a couple minutes of, excitement or pleasure a day throughout follows and hooks and, hooked fish and caught fish or whatever. Like you gotta take, yeah. And I'm not saying like even last year, like there was definitely times I got super negative or whatever and was just like, God, fuck this, like
yeah,
this is just a lot,
Hmm.
with no results. But I'm just, it's a work in progress. Like definitely not going to be perfect at it. I think, it's just good. Like you could play this clip for me in middle of August when we're just sweating our asses off and,
yeah.
not seeing
Well, that's
fish.
what I'm thinking. I'm like why would I get angry? And it's like, oh, all of a sudden, like if you don't catch anything on Saturday, then you're sitting there Saturday, you have like 2 hours left to fish. You're like, shit, I gotta drive home tomorrow. I gotta start thinking about work. And then
Yep.
you just start, you just gotta live in the moment and keep fishing.
100%, dude. I am so
Facts.
guilty of that. Like if I take off work on a Friday and like maybe I don't catch a fish on Friday and Saturday, maybe there's like some weather and we don't get to put in a full day and then all of a sudden like Sunday comes around, you're like, God, you're putting all this pressure on yourself. Like,
Yeah.
man, I just drove up here, I took time off of work, I took time away from friends and
Think about your
family.
4 hour drive home and
Thinking about your drive home, thinking about all the shit you got to do on Monday from taking off of
yeah,
work on Friday, and you're
yeah,
like, I better catch a damn fish. You know?
Yeah. Just putting too much
yeah,
pressure on yourselves, I think. It's not exactly a matter of trying to care less. I know what you're kind of getting at, Brian, but just less pressure on yourselves
yeah,
to beat
yeah.
last time or catch a fish every time. It's
Mhm.
something that I definitely work on myself with, guiding people and stuff like that because there's only so much you can do on some days when the weather plays a huge factor, or if you're going out for only a half day, like 4 or 5 hours, as we all know, trying to put the pieces of the puzzle together sometimes is a little tough when the time's short. Um, but of course, I
Sure.
got a little bit of benefit from being on the water almost, every day or so. But let's go on to you had 2 goals, Max. I'm just gonna read them both off right away, and then we can discuss. Your first one was get better at fishing rivers. That didn't really happen. We've fished some flowages kind of since, but rivers, not
We
really.
fished. Well, I mean, the opener, Southern opener, it was probably the only true river.
I wouldn't even count that as as learning that
Well,
much.
yeah, it might have made him worse. It was so bad.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, I think
Yeah,
I
and
failed
then
miserably at that.
right. So that was tough. Maybe we'll just leave it at that. And then the other one was hold the lead at a PMTT event. even if it was just for a day, obviously, preferably after day two, which would be a dub. But that did not happen either. But I like that goal, where I think we're
Yeah.
both very much striving for that. But I think the closest we got was after day one of the championship with our 36 and a half. We are sitting in fourth, third,
Second.
second. No, second.
Yeah.
That's right.
We might have been leading that tournament for a brief time.
Which one?
I mean, on day one, when after I caught that fish, because it was in the morning.
Oh yeah, it was at like 10 a.m.
So
Yeah.
either way, but I think the whole purpose was to
Hmm.
like either sleep on a lead or
Yeah.
to win a tournament.
You
So
want to
I
be
would
leader in
say,
the clubhouse, have to think about it
Hmm.
going into Sunday.
given that the big old Chuck Norris thumbs down as far
Yeah.
as
Yep.
accomplishing that.
Thumbs down. All right, that was it for Max's. So I'll move on to Brian.
Ooh.
All right, Ryan, you just kept it simple. You had one resolution and one goal. Your resolution was willing to fish deeper water. I think there's an asterisk on there. There's always going to be a little pushback with Gus, is what you said, I think. But
So
you
I
said
I
that
get to argue you, but then I have to fold and say okay, is essentially what
basically.
that.
So I think you've 100% been better as of late, but I did check your
Yeah.
fish catches, and I don't think any of them were in any deeper water than like 11 feet.
No.
For your 2024 catches.
Maybe it didn't work. No, I'm thinking of like my deepest fish and they were prior to that resolution. So
Yeah.
I maybe regressed a little bit.
Well, we were I mean, we had opportunities and kind of just a tough fall in general. That would have been the time, but
Yeah.
and we really didn't do any like deep, clear water fishing when you were up in particular, because
We
you were only
fished
up. I mean, you're only up on opener, a little bit around 4th of July, Bender weekend, and then once in the fall.
Labor Day and then yeah.
Oh, Labor Day, that's right. But
Yeah,
we only
I
fished like
think
2 mornings for that,
yeah, it was short.
or
We
2 days.
fished I feel like a lot of deeper stuff at times during Minnetonka. Um
Ah, that's
I don't know.
right.
I've gained some more confidence with it for sure. I enjoy like counting down baits.
It's just a
Um,
different presentation. I mean, you're doing the same things. You just gotta, like
I
you
just
said,
lose
either.
confidence with it a lot quicker because it's kind of like, okay, I'm casting in the abyss. Is there any like structure, bait? Like, are we just out here for no reason? Like, that's where
Hmm.
my mind starts going crazy after a couple
That's
hours.
fair. Yeah,
Unless we're seeing fish.
when deeper doesn't work, yeah, the confidence goes down a lot faster than if shallow isn't working. I can fully agree with that.
Yeah.
Especially, yeah, because shallow sometimes you can't even mark the bait, but you kind of just have to guess or assume it's there. Where deep, it's like either you see the bait or you don't. It's easier to mark bait in,
Yeah.
open water. But that was your resolution. Your goal was to catch a 40 plus incher on the fly.
Yeah. That was really only had one good go at it. It didn't
Right.
fly fish a ton. It was just was that in Minnetonka?
No,
I
I
don't
was
know.
at ball fishing and there was a fish found the sucker and he
Yeah,
threw a
yeah,
fly
yeah.
by it and it kind
Oh
of
yeah,
followed him
It
for a
kind
little
of
bit.
followed it and stared at it and then
that's
just
right.
sank down. Um,
Damn it.
yeah, that was after we'd kind of discussed that on the pod about trying it out because there's so many lazy falls on the sucker. Throw a fly back there and just let it
Mm-hmm.
slowly sit next to him. I
We
feel like
tried
I
it
could.
one morning.
I feel like it could work in the future. Find the right fish, maybe, but
In the future.
I don't know. It's still a dream. Maybe more a dream than a
Yeah.
goal, but we'll see.
Keep
Yeah,
dreaming,
and that
buddy.
was yeah, keep on dreaming. That was Brian's. And then I'll go with mine here. We had for the resolution, I I definitely fulfilled that and kind of will always try and fulfill that. I mean, it's kind of just something I love to do every year anyways, is fish new lakes. And then the big part of that was when I'm not guiding is to just keep searching new stuff, new spots, new lakes, find that next bite. Don't hammer the stuff that you could be guiding people the next day or burning fish and whatnot. And I feel like I did a really good job with that. Um, for the most part, it was always when's, fun fishing or on our own or with you guys or with dad, going to try new stuff. So had fun with that. that's kind of a resolution or something I'll always try and do every year. And then the two goals I had was kind of have a better trip mentality, basically, as starting up, being a muskie guide was kind of tough, a lot of thoughts in my head, like, am I good enough? Like, should I be taking these people out type things, which is just all bad thoughts. But I felt like I had a much better mentality and try to keep a positive attitude every trip, no matter the person, no matter the group, no matter the weather, no matter how much I knew in my head, like we will probably absolutely not see a fish for 2 hours. But if I can keep these people's attention going for when that bite's gonna happen, if I'm on something extremely specific with like a lure, a moon phase or something, I feel like I definitely did better on that. And then the other goal was bow to fish in each of the PMTT events again. And we
Mm,
were
mm.
mm,
Talk about
mm,
actually a fish that keeps me up at night.
talk about a fish that definitely keeps me up at night as well. That goal would have
Hmm.
been fulfilled, but Madison. Oh,
Yeah,
Madison PMTT.
Fucking Madison, bitch
fucking
ass.
Madison.
Madison.
Loved it after year one, hated it after year two.
Hmm.
Either way, either way. That one was not fulfilled, unfortunately. Close. Three of the four events.
Three
Uh,
to four.
second place, Top Gun. We'll take it. That was awesome. Definitely not trying to downplay it at all. I think that was great. But that was a fairly lofty goal to try and do that again. But we were damn close, which is definitely hurts. Do you guys want to chat about this year's resolutions, goals? Maybe just pick one for each. One
I was
resolution, one goal.
just about to say this. We can kind of either, you can cut this or what, but I think with the timing, we might have to save some bait talk for next week and just kind of maybe do our goals for this year and wrap it at
Sure.
that.
I'm totally game for that. I mean, we still have time before the next few expos. I mean, we'll talk about it next week going into Minnesota, and then the following week we'll be already chatting about the Wausau, and after that, post Wausau. So it's all coming up pretty quick.
Mhm.
All good to me. So who wants to start? Anybody got whether it's a resolution or goal or both? I gotta try and think kind of on that, honestly.
I have a goal that comes to mind.
Yep.
I guess it's a goal. I could make it
Mhm.
into a goal. But I kind of said it earlier. Get better with a glide bait. Use more than one kind. Um, Become comfortable with it. Fish it shallow, fish it deep. I just have very limited time with it right now. Anytime I have put it on, it's been for 10 minutes and it comes right off. I have no confidence. So use it more, become better with it. And then the goal part, I guess, would be to catch a muskie on a glide bait. Honestly, I don't know if I have ever even caught one on a glide.
Yeah,
I'm trying to
I
remember. I don't
don't
think I
know.
have.
Did you get close with the Hellhound once?
Yeah, that's the only thing I'm wondering is I use
I
a
don't think you threw
hellhound.
much. You didn't throw like any other glides, I don't think, really.
No, not really. So I mean, I don't know. We'll say catch a 3 foot plus fish on a glide bait would be my goal.
All
I got to
right.
think on the resolution, so someone else take it away.
I am going to say trying to like look at baits honestly and follow suit on that. Man, this is kind of tough. I we've had so much time since January 1st to think about this.
Yeah, we're doing our New Year's resolution goals
End of
in the end of
February.
February. So, I mean, Gus, I can do one of mine right now if you want to
Yes.
give it some more thought. Maybe Brian, if you want
End
to
of
think up of a
February
few
goals.
more outside of catching a fish on a glide
I
bait as
mean, well,
well.
basically they're just our season goals anyway. It doesn't start until May or Muskie opener or base, cave run for us, but
That's true.
so it's not too
That's
late.
true. You're
We're not
right.
making these in June.
You're right. You're right. All
I'm
right.
just trying to justify us being 2 months late.
I'm gonna be a basic bitch. I'm just gonna
Go.
come all right and say it.
Say it.
It's a red liner this year for me, boys.
Redliner.
Oh, That's a 50 on the
Dog.
board.
I knew that. I'm saying dog. A redliner?
It's happening this year.
Can you
Yeah.
specify?
I'm
hmm
joining the
Can you
club.
specify?
I've
Gonna
been
be
musky
on.
fishing for way too damn long.
Minnesota or Wisconsin?
Doesn't matter. I'll
Okay.
take it into stock goddamn pond at this point.
All right, all right.
All right, easy now.
That boy's starving.
Yeah.
Maybe I just
Hey,
stink.
but you
I don't
gotta
know.
enjoy every trip though, no matter
Yeah,
what.
yeah, gotta enjoy every trip. Gotta enjoy every trip. No, it's a redliner. I think I'm gonna be spending some more time in Minnesota this year, if I had to guess. We got the Caspamidgee PMTT going on in August. I think we're gonna be taking damn near a whole week off of work to go up and, pepper those waters,
Yep.
see how that goes. We're gonna be on some big fish waters in northern Wisconsin this year. I think we found some really good lakes last year that have that top end potential of 50-inch fish, and we're starting to dial those in a little bit more. Um, we talk about these trips being fewer and far between. I think as you kind of grow as a musky angler, most of the time people get a little bit more addicted on the
Bigger
chasing
fish.
after big fish. And that's definitely where I'm at. So that's a goal. I don't know, I think it's a very basic bitch thing to say because it's like, oh, if
hmm
talk about the 50, the 50, the 50. It should not matter at all. It really should
Right.
not. But
But at
it's a
the same
goal. Like,
time, the muskie industry and community has made it like the mark. I know
yeah.
we've talked about this. I think we talked about it pretty extensively with Glenn McDonald when we had him on, I remember. But
Yeah.
I know exactly what you mean. But at the same time, no matter how much you say it, it's still in the back of my mind. It's like a 50 would be awesome. A 50 would be so cool.
I know a lot of it.
Getting
Like, I'm
that.
not want to take away from anyone who fishes like big fish waters, but it is a lot of it is relative to where you
hmm
spend most of your time. And
Yeah,
um
100%. That's absolutely true.
like,
Man,
I mean, I think of it like, fish two PMTTs in Minnesota, Vermilion and Tonka, and hooked and
mhm.
lost the biggest fish I ever seen in my life the one weekend we were in Vermilion, and Tonka hooked and lost easily the biggest fish I had on last year,
Yes.
and spent hours upon hours fishing northern Wisconsin. And
Yeah.
this was on day hour 5 of fishing Tonka pre-fishing, and a couple days at Vermilion. So again,
Yeah, well, yeah. I know exactly what you're saying. It is very relative on the big fish part, but a red liner would be pretty sweet. Fishing a lot of big fish stuff. No, I think kind of a goal there is man, on with the new lakes thing. I definitely want to find like a couple more gems. I feel like I got the reservoir of a ton of lakes I love to guide and lakes I feel confident guiding on, but then there's just those lakes that they're either so small you don't want them to blow up, or they're just so not talked about you also don't want them to blow up. So goal is to find a couple more gems that we can hopefully find, a big fish that hasn't been harassed for many, many years. Um, but that's kind of going on the same resolution I had last year. I'll do a goal.
I'm having a hard
I'm
time
having a
differentiating resolution from goal because I just thought of another goal.
I guess goal is more maybe a definite answer, like
Yeah.
a
Like, did you do
PB,
it? Yes or
like
no?
a size of a fish or
Yeah,
how
yeah,
many
yeah.
fish or
Yeah, so mine's a goal. I
okay,
guess my resolution was to get better with glides, which also had an attached goal.
right. That's you
mhm,
did do that. I like
mhm,
that one.
mhm.
But my next goal, and I think y'all are really gonna like this one. And I want you to keep a
Fire.
straight face when I say it now.
Fish
It is
people.
my goal this year to sit and stand in the back of the boat and guide Gus to a muskie. I'm picking the spot.
Ah,
I'm driving the boat.
That would be amazing. All right. Let's see it happen. I know the very short time I've given you control of that foot pedal to just whether we have to like manage a muskie or I'm looking for a bait, hasn't gone the
Well,
greatest,
I'm not gonna do it's
but
not I'm not gonna experiment on a gale force wind day. I'm not trying to get
it's
pissed
fair.
off, but on a calm day, I'll drive you to a
Right.
little honey hole. I'll put you on something.
Hmm.
Return the favor.
Yeah. I think that's a good
Lofty
one.
goal.
Lofty, lofty. We'll be listening back on this one again next year.
Yeah, I guess never let me touch a
But
trolling motor.
yeah, it's probably no, no, no. You just name a time and place, bud.
All right, all right, all right. All right, bud.
I'd say a New Year's resolution. I don't know. I feel, obviously I want to get a lot better with so many different categories of baits and we've actually kind of talked about this a decent bit tonight. Is personally getting a little better at trolling and kind of learning a different like two different tactics. One of them being trolling blades, which I started to do a little bit last year, didn't get dialed into too much. And another one would be short lining, which I was able to try a little bit as well. Learned a little bit more from those boys down in Green Bay when I was down there for a day with Dad and trolling with Jamie and Phil. Learned a bit from that and kind of that whole program and kind of put that to work because last year finally caught the first ever trolling fish on a planer board. For a while, I couldn't break that curse. We just lose fish, or it would always be the down rod. So that one's kind of already done. But I think next up is like a really short line, like leader out, basically, and learning how to troll blades more effectively. I think that's a good resolution to try and fulfill. An actual goal. Oh my goodness. I think I think try and catch a Northern Wisconsin 45 plus incher on a homemade bucktail is
Okay.
a goal of mine.
Mm,
So I think
that's a good
my
one.
personal best on a homemade bucktail is a 44 up here. So I would like to just beat that, get a bigger fish than that, and because I feel like that I always enjoy building bucktails and prior to that I'd always tie most of my own flies for trout fishing. It just always is cool to catch them on a streamer or a nymph or something that I built or designed, whether it was a copy of something or something just right off the dome or whatever. So that's my goal there.
Sweet.
I like it.
Cool.
I like it.
Well, I think like Max said, I think we're gonna dive into more bait talk. Apologies on the next episode, next week, Thursday. But otherwise, I think that kind of does it for tonight. I think we got some good goals. Our February resolutions. And,
End of Q1 resolutions.
right. But I'm looking forward to the Minnesota Muskie Expo. That's the 7th to the 9th at I think that Fairgrounds or whatever, right in what's that town? Rose something?
Dale,
Is it in Roseville?
Roseville?
Roseville.
I
St.
think
Paul
it's.
maybe? I don't know. It was like
Yeah.
just north of highway of I-94, but yeah, looking forward to that. Max and I will be there. I can't remember what you said, Max, how much you were looking to go to. Was it Friday after work or was it just Saturday or?
Oh, right. I will be there Friday. So whenever you get into town Friday, Gus, I'll probably meet you at the show, and
Hmm.
we will be walking around Friday evening. And then I gotta catch a flight out of town Saturday morning. So unfortunately, I will not be there Saturday and Sunday.
Where are you going?
Colorado.
Damn.
Yeah.
Nice.
All right.
So
That'll be good
I will be
times.
getting out of Dodge for a couple days, much needed. Well, it won't even really be a be like a 1 day vacation, I guess I could call it. But
Hmm.
speaking of, Gus, before we sign off here tonight, we do have our big ice fishing weekend this weekend. Unfortunately, we will not be running a 3v3 contest, most likely, as our tried and true member of the old man team has decided to pack up and leave to Nashville this winter. So
He's
he
fleeing
is
the state. He's scared of competition.
he
That's
is
crazy.
Don't like
officially
winter no more.
a Southern boy for the current time being, and was not able to uh, make it work. So we
Yeah,
will
that's
have
a
a
dangerous guy to plot in Nashville, man. I wish him
it
the
is a
best.
yeah, very dangerous guy. So we have a different crew kind of coming up this year. We're gonna do some fun stuff, but unfortunately, we will not have that heated 3v3 competition.
Mm-mm.
But
Yeah.
looking
Maybe just
forward to seeing you boys and getting out on the ice for my one ice fishing weekend of the year, really.
yeah, we
Yeah. The
barely.
last one.
It was such a
Yeah.
shit show of ice fishing over Christmas this year. Like we were getting great ice, and then out of nowhere, we're just ice fishing on puddles and puddles, like
Yeah.
with
Yeah,
all
I
that
wouldn't
rain and
even
stuff. That was
call
just
that fishing.
disgusting.
That was just walking. That's all that was. A lot of
So
walking.
true. Oh, honestly. Um, ice fishing started to get pretty awesome.
I
Actually
think it's
ran, what's that?
isn't it usually pretty good, like right before tip-up season's done, like this late
It
February?
is. It is actually typically good. The last few times I've been out, I actually guided a few small groups, and we got on quite a few panfish. Every time we are just sitting on pods of them, and the bite was dictated pretty much on the
Crappie?
weather. Crappie, bluegill, and perch, mixed bag, sitting
How
in one
deep?
spot. It's 11 to 13 feet of mud,
Mm.
just off the break line. Pretty simple
25 a
stuff.
guy.
Oh, easily. Yeah, we were just piling them. No, I think
How many
one
y'all
time
keep? Bucket full?
no, a
Yeah.
few times we
Couple
didn't
buckets
keep.
full.
I think the most we caught was, or not caught,
Back of the truck
kept
filled.
was like 6 or 7. I don't know.
Nice.
Be eating perch until 27.
No, we caught a good bit, but and recently, did break a PB on
Oh,
what I was not expecting to be a
Hey,
day of
yo.
breaking a personal best. I got my personal best smallmouth at 22 1/4 inches long, a
Golly.
good clip over 16
damn.
inches girth. And this was all very, I don't know how well I measured it, especially the girth. I look
That
back at
boy's
the video and
wide.
I don't think I
That's
tried
like
the
a
best
brine
spot.
fish right there.
Yeah.
Yeah, damn.
What do you mean by that?
I mean, I think it's implied.
What you mean, dog?
It was a unit.
But
No.
that thing was a unit. That was awesome. That was freaking sweet. I saw the mark come up, and as soon as I set the hook, I'm like, "Oh crap, this thing is a big one." And it was dogging me. I was jigging. It was on a tiny little panfish rod, panfish jig. So that was a freaking blast. That was cool. We might do something like that this weekend, is go after potentially a smallmouth bite, maybe.
Girthy boys. Yeah.
We'll see how
Count
that
me in on
goes.
that.
That would be
Mhm.
pretty sweet. They fight hard. What was I gonna say? I was gonna say something else along the lines.
Mm.
Oh, I know we're not talking about bait talk, and actually, since we're gonna talk about maybe stuff that we're looking forward to at the Minnesota and Wausau Expo, we kind of have a list, but we might miss things. So if you're listening into this and there's stuff that's on your list that you think are must gets or some bait makers that we might be overlooking, maybe you don't want to share them for a reason, but if you got somebody that you'd like to have
Yeah.
them get a shout out pretty much, just let us know.
Plug your boy, plug your bait maker.
We
Don't be
want to plug
hiding
them
baits.
because we're definitely
Gotta
we're
make some
definitely gonna
money.
miss out on a few, you know,
Yeah.
because there's just so many at all these shows. But
Mhm.
Mhm.
plug the peeps. All right, I think that kind of gives a wrap on this week's podcast. Look for the next one to come out next week. We'll
Potential
get a
giveaways in the future. Maybe YouTube vids drop in. I don't know,
Whoa, whoa,
guys.
whoa,
Stay tuned.
whoa.
oh
Sound the
Thursday.
alarm. Hold on.
I think that
I don't
YouTube
know.
vid will drop. It's gonna drop.
Thursday.
It's gonna drop
Tonight?
Thursday. No, not tonight.
Thursday
Me
tonight?
too. No, no,
Thursday.
no. Thursday. I'll call it now.
Dang.
Thursday.
Give me something to watch on my long drive up north.
Thursday. If you guys are listening to this Thursday morning, when this comes out, I usually put it out at like 4 a.m. or whatever. Wait, what'd you say? I didn't even listen.
Hey, no way.
What are you laughing
That's,
at?
that's way more funny inside joke than Brian just said. "Hey, drop the YouTube video. Give me something to watch on my way up north." I swear that boy forgets he's driving half the goddamn time.
Oh, leave it in. Leave it in. I didn't even
Who's
hear that. That went right over
who's
my
driving the
head.
boat?
Who's driving the
Wait, who's
boat?
driving right now?
That is so sorry. Yeah. Um, yeah. She'll drop. She'll drop. If you're listening to Thursday morning, um,
Is the channel
you
built?
the channel's built. Yeah, you can give
Yeah,
it a
so
follow. Muskie's on tap.
people, yeah, go put the
Um,
post notifications on.
yeah, post, subscribe, and everything. I'm starting to put up all the podcasts on there. No, it's still all just audio only, but yeah, it's getting. Last I checked, I think we're at like 55 subscribers. Not bad.
Whoa, geez, settle down, guys.
Dang. Hey, where's my share here? How much coin are you pulling in from this?
Not until I
Heard
get 1K
YouTube is where all the
subscribers.
big bucks are.
Yeah, I
10
can't wait for that
subscribers.
ad revenue. Gonna get like $10 a video.
What is the video, Gus, for the people that are listening still at this point, which probably few and far between.
Yeah, probably not many. Cave Run PMTT 2024. Max and I's outing. Couple fish pre-fishing. If you haven't seen the results, I won't give anything away on the tournament. But we had a lot of fun, had some good film for it. I think it will be a cool video. Pretty excited to drop that and learned a lot just from editing that one video. Learned so much on what we can do better or get more of to make a solid video, whether it's a 10-minute video or a half an hour video. But this one, it's looking like it's going to be somewhere around that. I don't know what that outro, probably around 16 or so minutes. Pretty pumped on that.
Fire.
Otherwise, check out the socials. Muskie's on tap on Instagram, Facebook, Suggs Fishing Guide Service on Instagram, Facebook, www.sugsfishing.com, SUGS Fishing. Give me a call, text, DM if you want to get out. This season, musky fishing or smallmouth. I got smallmouth trips running all May. Trying to keep that bite always dialed in on a pretty good start in the ice season. I'm sure at ice off, some of these fish will be in the right spot. So if we can find some, if the lakes open up early, we can go out in April too if I'm around or early May. The bite can be actually surprisingly good. I like that pre-spawn bite a ton. But anyways, I think that wraps it up. So if you guys got nothing else to add, Brian, you want to take her away?
Well, all right, everybody. Thank you for listening to this episode of Muskie is on tab. No guests this week. Let us know in the Spotify review how we did. If you guys hate it, if you guys love it, if you guys need a guest, let us know your thoughts. No hard feelings here. Shout out to all four call-ins, though. Fun stuff. Keep them coming in the future. What do we got? Show season around the corner. USA got beat by Canada. That was depressing.
March Madness.
Governor Trudeau was pissed. March Madness coming up. That'll be big. Little bracket challenge coming up. Stay tuned for that. And Rory approaching Augusta again. He's gonna get it done this year. Bye.
Red alert.
Bye.